So mine started when I was 17 years old. Um, I grew up when my grandma and grandpa raised me. My dad was in my life, but he worked full time. My mom passed away when I was 5 years old, so my dad still, I had to have health insurance. I was never without, never without. So that's all I ever knew growing up. I didn't know what Medi-Cal was. I didn't know what food stamps were. None of that. I was like a spoiled little brat. And at 17, I fell in love, my knight in shining armor. And from then on, I was just stuck to him, like addicted, I guess you could say. Not to drugs, but to my ex-husband now. So at 17, I graduated high school, and I decided, I'm gonna move in with him. We had already, we would have our little spats and stuff. And I noticed he had a jealous side, but he hadn't physically like hit me. He would grab me or tell me like, oh, I see you looking at him, oh, you like him, like just the jealous boyfriend. I was young, so I was like, oh, he loves me, like, and I enrolled in college, started going, but then I would be too worried about, oh, what does he think I'm doing? Oh, he didn't trust me. Like, he would walk to my school to make sure I was in class at Valley College, like, and if I wasn't there for some reason, maybe I went to go have lunch with friends, oh, it was just a big fight. So then I stopped going to school. I worked a retail job at Sears. Then I became pregnant with my first son at 18. I had him when I was 19. So 1999, I got pregnant with my son. And before that, he had already started physically abusing me. I was always back and forth from my grandma's house to his house. We were in the honeymoon stage and then back to the fighting stage. And that was just our thing, round and round. So when I was 6 months pregnant, I had went over there to spend the night, and he would do drugs and drink. So one night he was, I don't know what he was on, but he just had it in his head that I lied and because I was having a boy. I showed him the sonogram, like you get it on the VHS. It was like a long time ago. And he said, no, you're lying. And that whole night, he just beat me up. And, you name it, he did it. So as soon as he knocked out, I found a way out of the house, let myself out, and I went to my sister's, and as soon as she opened the door, she was just like, oh my God, what happened to you? Because my face was all swollen, I was just a mess. So then, my family takes me to the doctor, they check me out. Thank God my baby was okay. But about 2 weeks later, there I am back with my knight in shining armor. He called me, oh, I'm so sorry, I'll never do it again, just all the words you want to hear. And of course, I love him, so, he loves me, he's not gonna do it again. And all this time, my family's always had my back, they never shut the door on me, oh, go be with him then, never. So I go back, and back and forth still, to my grandma's, to his house. He steals my car, which is in my father's name, so he wrecks it. So my son wasn't even born yet. So then he has to go to jail, to my dad pressed charges on him. So me not knowing, I was 20 at the time now. He's like, well, I'm gonna go do these however many months, and I don't want you out here whoring around, so I'm gonna get you pregnant again. I didn't know that that was a part of control then, I was just like, oh, he loves me, he wants me to have another baby. So naive, So then, boom, I get pregnant again with my second son. He goes, does his time, comes out, still, going out partying. I'm the one who's always working. He would sell drugs and stuff like that. Everything illegal, but still, drop me off at work, come back from work, had my second son, and then we were living together for a while, but it's just drinking and drugs. It never stopped. It was just constant. And I just put up with it because I loved him. And, I forgot to mention, before I got pregnant, we got married. With my second son, we got married. So there, I was his wife, and that was another thing. Well, you're my wife now, so you really need to do what I say. And I was like, okay, like, I grew up only knowing, my dad taking care of his family, so I always just thought like, oh, he's gonna take care of me. Like, I'm not gonna have to worry, But as the time went on, I noticed like, oh, he's not gonna change. Like, he's not gonna change. No matter how much I love him, how much attention I give him, he's not gonna change. And so then we separated again. I went back to school after I had my second son, and I had almost finished Valley College. So I was working and going to school, living with my grandparents. And then I went and visited him one day. It was Halloween. And during this time that we were always back and forth. We were never just like a straight cut, like out of sight, out of mind. We were always kept in touch. So I took the boys over there trick-or-treating, and I got pregnant with my daughter. On Halloween, I was like, oh, when you just know, I was like, I'm pregnant again. Like, how am I gonna tell my dad? Like, and so my third child came, all from him, and I always joke with my friends and stuff, people I meet, because they're like, I got like 2 baby dads, 3 baby dads. I'm like, well, at least you didn't stay with the same one. I stayed with the same one. He always did the same thing. I laugh now, but then it was a different story. But I had my daughter, and that was like my happiest pregnancy though, because we didn't live together. So I had like the best pregnancy with her. I didn't have to worry about walking down eggshells, saying the wrong thing. So then after I had her, I finally finished Valley College. And then he started changing a little bit. I seen him getting better, so we got back together. We were divorced already. She was 2, and our divorce had just became final. And we moved in together again. And we did good for about 4 years probably, but it was always the drugs. I would find a crack pipe here. And I'd be throw them out, like, no, I'm not going to have my kids around this. I didn't grow up around this. They're not going to grow up around this. Then, I'm not, I'm cleaning up. The same old story, I got a job. He would get really good jobs. And then just something would happen, he would quit. And there I would be. At one point, I was working 3 jobs, going to school, and he would still put me down. Oh, you need to be a better mother. You're never home. I'm like, well, I have to work and pay the bills. You stay at home all day. And all you need to do is make sure the kids go to school, make sure, So it was always, nothing was ever good enough. And I guess maybe too, after a while, anything he tried to do, nothing was ever good enough for me either, because we're just toxic together. So now, about 2014 around there, he went and he moved back in with his mother, but he lives right around the corner from me, because when we were together, there was a house for rent, and of course, I'm like, oh, your mom should rent that house, me being the nice person I am, and now she's stayed there forever. So he lives right there, which you would think, like he would have a good relationship with his kids, that his mom would have a relationship with my kids. He's still in and out whenever he wants to be a dad. If I'm being a bitch, then, oh, no, I'm not going to go see them. Because his thing was always, if I can't have all of my family, then I don't want none of it. And that hurts me as a mother, And to this day, like, he still, like, after he moved in my house, because he was in my house, he wouldn't hit me. It was just the verbal abuse, the put downs. Like, no more hitting, no more, nothing like that. But once we finally went our separate ways, we would still get together and, you know, be together, and then the honeymoon would be over again. It was just a revolving door. And up until maybe last year is when I finally was like, no, that's it. Like, I can't no more. I can't. And he still, like, I'll invite him, like, okay, yeah, you can come sing happy birthday, you know, to the kids, celebrate. But then he expects something more. And I can't give that to him. And I tell him, like, I'll always love you, but I can't put myself in that position anymore. Like, I can't. And my kids, you know, are older, and I didn't tell them, I never really wanted them to know that he abused me, because they never saw it. You know, they seen the emotional and the words and the name calling, but they never seen him, like, physically hit me. But one time someone brought it up, and they're like, what, Mom? Like, and I was like, yeah, you know. So as they were older, I told them. So I didn't want them to treat him any different, you know. I always just wanted my family together, and I mean, to this day, like, if he would change, like, I pray for him. And I mean, I did my thing too when we'd be separated. I wasn't an angel. But I tell him, like, if I did half of the things you did to me, like, you would never talk to me again. You know, you expect me to be with open arms just at the drop of a hat, and I can't. But I'm just here as an advocate to share with you guys that, you know, it doesn't matter if you're in a relationship or on and off with somebody for 22 years. You don't deserve that. Like, nobody does. But I don't want you guys to see me as a victim or a survivor. Like, I want you to see me as a believer of Christ. You know, because he never left me. Like, everything I went through wasn't in vain. I have 3 wonderful kids, and that's what I always tell them. Like, I couldn't have another one of you with somebody else. You know, like, God has a plan. My son's gonna be a nurse. My middle son works for the police department. Like, we're breaking chains, you know. I don't want her to ever have to go through this, you know? Because now as a parent, like, I can't imagine how my grandma, my stepmom, my dad, my brothers and sisters felt. You know, they always wanted to, like, get him. But they're like, well, we know you're going to go back to him. And why are we going to, I remember, like, my dad would, like, be like, you want to hit someone, hit me. You go to our house where we live, and he wouldn't come out, you know. And it was just, I don't know. It was, I don't ever want to go back to that place. You know, I'm like, I've come so far, and it's took me this long, like Melinda says, like, it's been this long, you know, like, why do I want to go back? You know, for what? To feel the same way? And sometimes I'm tempted to, you know, like, he'll call and he'll sound all nice and say the right words, and I'm like, you know what, like, I can't let myself down. You know, to go back to that. I can't. And so I just want you guys to know, thank you for letting me share my life.